my mind and liberate me from remembering my Guru so very much, fervently calling with desperation. Besides this unending nature of my mind, I could not find my Guru somewhere else. The object of praying and the one who prays, if they do not exist, with contrived intentions, supposedly praying with effort and grasping, why is it necessary to pretend like this? Unrecognizable clarity, the naked raw nature of empty awareness. This is the only absolute Guru. I recognize this is Yeshi Dorje. It is the great abiding nature from the beginning. In the primordial basis, there is no need to call from far away. There is no need to search nearby. In the all-containing nature beyond thought, of course, there is not even the name of delusion. So therefore, without question, it is enlightenment, great, even inconceivable exaltation. Whatever arises is all the display of Dharmakaya, the great blessing which is free from any aim. I, a yogi, absorb in my heart. O great, wondrous Ah.
Mm-hmm. So that's this beautiful thing you can chant every day. Usually these start with in other tradition, the Longchen Yingtik tradition, Mundo, preliminary practice. The very beginning it's used as a Nyingwite Bekesar, the lotus center of your heart, which is the form of your faith. And until you open that, then your Guru is somewhere circling and circling, couldn't have found cushion. So you need to open that center. And not only temporarily invite, but you need to make that forever Guru place in your life and beyond. So this is beautiful that Nyingtik preliminary practice yesterday we talked about. Nyingwite Bekesar Shebani Jabjik Trimchen Lamayala Shin Leton Yomutak Servaya Karaman Padala Jobi Jeo Dechin Kolujan. Every day you invite your Guru who's reside in a lotus petal of your faith inside the heart. Every morning open up and invite your Guru to your crown to do supplications and so forth. So it's a beautiful things we can do. You don't need to do this practice. You spend a lot of time, or even you don't need to be a billionaire. So it's a wonderful thing we can do these practices. So anyway, you should feel that these are powerful prayers, and it's related to what we went through, these teachings. We can chant again and again, but first we can go through some of these readings. Any questions that we can do right before this? If not, no? Okay, good. Yeah, if you have time, just look at Nyingtik preliminary practice, the beginning, how you need to wake up your cells, wake up from your bed, wake up your cells, wake up your mind, and wake up your faith, and then how devotionally you can bring your Guru. But these also tell Guru is not out there either. So these naked awarenesses, your Guru. And that's an important thing. That's why I try to relate these texts with practice, maybe it's more helpful us to practice kind of nyamlen chena, nyamlen te ten tong denba, tang nyamlen te yago yang yak che te, tengi che nambal te yores.
So I was thinking about how when you practice, so that it can really be meaningful and go well, this is, something that can help direct the practice in that way.
So it's easy practice, yeah. You just need to look back your mind. That's it's easy, and that is your guru too. So if you really wanted to see true guru, then you need to constantly look at your mind. And here we can read more, and then we can discuss. It's on page 107, but Tibetan is the other side. Maybe someone can project the Tibetan. Is anyone is working, or I don't see. No? Okay. Coming, I think. Yeah, it's here. Okay. Second paragraph. Teshin dojin ila gawe san drobde nyan dam nyan long chu ta ne dong cho de yin wan de ra yi gawe jen be sam sha wa de ni ngo zon ro jo ya ge do me so ma chu lun je chu Rāyīndrā māyāndrā dōyīnjendrā dē kādāme gāñi mī jī shāyāng shārdū ngū zōng pānglāng mā yī Rāmi chū nī yā sarame bāne dē mō sārā chēmbō chō shī shā Tsē mō lā sō nī jī nyū bāna Rāmbhava dō chārvī ngāñyā vī rāpa nā nō prī tānzī nō Chēvān chāvā chēn chān chāmbā chē nō bī Chōm nyam mē dō ngāng dō rī bī sēm jōn jō rē dō chārvī rāñjī nē Kuen tō chū yīng chārvī tū yīng bī korvā nyāng dī chōr shī jō bāi So we read first paragraph.
So page
109,
yeah, so page 107 through the first paragraph of 109. So starting with the word similarly, you may experience what is desirable and brings joy to the mind. Things accomplished with ease, friends, pleasant news, wealth to be enjoyed, and attractive places and regions. With anything attractive, there arises a state of mind that is naturally enriched by joy. When you identify this and rest imperturbably, settling naturally, you experience it as uncontrived and spontaneously present in primordial basic space. You may have a neutral attitude when you are going about or sitting or resting quite indifferently, that is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Regardless of what arises, identify its nature as it arises, without reacting positively or negatively. Thus, the true nature of phenomena, the naturally settled state, without differentiation or exclusion, is called ignorance free as supreme utter lucidity. At night and other times when you are overtaken by sleep, as you lie in a naturally settled state, free of the proliferation and resolution of thoughts, sensory appearances that manifest in obvious ways disappear, so reification of them disappears as well. With the disappearance of even what is subtle or very subtle, together with the reification of it, the mind that is aware in a uniform, non-conceptual state abides naturally, free of the occurrence of and involvement in thoughts, as well as hope and fear. This is the conduct in which all-consuming concepts are free within the basic space of phenomena, and so is described as samsara being free as nirvana.
Tene 다 니모 사야지는 세모 사야지. 나좀 메첼. 니요 바로. 니모라 tene 데도게 나와나 초바치 샤네 텔라 아 동란치 세난다. 텔라 tene 짐바다 셴바 효그니 아요 ngajan 탁토 메데와 중야당 용 가베 촐은 짐바 효그니 대워당 기보 수르와테 용다 테니라 어쩌통 동란치고 그래서 때 조바서야 될.
So, when it comes to our experience in this life, we have the experience of the daytime and nighttime. And in the experience of the day, for example, we have all these different things that we can experience that bring us happiness, that we enjoy, and so forth. And we can get attached to and crave. And this can lead to desire and jealousy and so forth. And so when these wonderful things that we might get attached to, that we find attractive and magnetizing and so forth, when these appear, there is the instruction to just rest without, grasping and so forth.
탄들나 디갑스 되네 대도게 나와 강단 강샤라 된다 탐지 릭바 랑기 랑차 리현드 메바 세두 다 릭바 리샤르 영한테 주마다 말람다고 샤르데바 마토 퇴응어말 메바 텐르지 텔란 짐바 셴바 효송이나 되네 트로와당 되네 람록바 찬도 그래서 대인도 맞아 대화 샤르나인데 동ар 샤르난다 노아 소르와 가르데도 소르와도 나와 가르 샤르나요 에네 텔라 각럽 방랑 마시니 샤고 그래서 가르스나 각럽도 방랑 제바이나 에드네 드시 제바 잠지기 때문에 소르와데도기 뇽한테 근데 체른 로체네 디 다다게네 제 뇽모바 도자시동 때문에라서봐 제야라 되네 제약 주체가 그래서
So when these different desirable, attractive things arise and appear, things that we are attracted to and that we desire in our experience, here the instruction is to recognize them as the inherent energy of awareness and to see them as appearing yet not having any inherent substantiality, being like an illusion, being like a dream. And in this way, they don't ultimately exist. On the other hand, if we grasp at them as being real, then we become confused and deluded, and we follow the kind of wrong path, and we experience the different types of, struggles associated with the dichotomy of happiness and suffering. And so here, if we don't understand that there is, nothing to, adopt or discard, to start or stop. If we just don't understand how to rest naturally, then these different experiences that arise in our lives, we can develop desire, we can develop, aversion, hatred, and ignorance, and the various afflictive emotions. And based on these afflictive emotions, when we act, then we generate the cause for, suffering and further delusion.
당보 니네 그럼 주독 제주 말해서 가서 부백게잖아. 주독스나 interference. interfering. 주독사하고 주독선하고 복길. 주독 맞이 있으면 돼.
Don't do anything.
Don't interfere. Don't
interfere.
anything. That thing, 주독 맞이 샤시고 그래서 don't engage. If you see any problem or any good thing or bad things, just don't engage with it. So 다 아주 교바 진토유지린도 다티 맞은 도그노라 제통 단다 요로와 보디샤야와 따라 단다 준주그노라 레스 메샤 마메샤 신시트는 네버샤 송도 카마라 구조 마자 행동은 이데데 아스주 라만다 샤령도나 세몬 뇽모통에 똑같은데 샤령도나 레스 메샤 하고서 마메샤 don't do anything, don't say anything. 신시트는 네버샤
신기두네. 네버샤.
말은 두 말. 신시트네. 신트.
신신두.
네버샤.
Like a tree.
Remained like a tree.
So in Tibetan, they have this phrase.
Not Tibetan, Bodhisattva 따라.
Tombo de interfere kikola.
Oh, yes.
So in Tibetan, they have this phrase that essentially kind of means the equivalent of like, don't interfere, don't get involved. Like, this doesn't concern you. Like, don't stay out of it. Maybe that's what we say, like, stay out of it. Just don't get involved. So if we can practice on this highest level of dzogchen, when all these different good things that we might get attached to, bad things we might be averted to, all these different experiences arise, the best that we can do is just to rest without any conceptualization and just don't interfere or, stay out of it. And let them, don't create any karma that way. However, also too, in the sutras and in other, the Mahayana texts, like the way of the Bodhisattva entering into the conduct of the Bodhisattvas by Shantideva, it says essentially, don't do anything with your body. When different, circumstances arise and these different things that could cause a reaction arise, don't do anything with your body physically. Don't say anything with your speech. Just sit there like a tree.
근데 결실랑래 놀이와 착수 뇽무 겁나 년분도 가왜 착수 뇽무 당보 제마다 뭔좀 해봐 결실랑래 인성 근데 뇽무 봐서야 돼 당보니는 건 너마탐나 되네 칼레 혁치르 로그레스 뇽무 겁나스 is disturbing emotions or afflictions are familiarized or gain ground, then it's difficult to avert or destroy. Desire and so forth, afflictions arise. You need to hammer them right away. That's your wrapping area is working or just
Tene Raudri?
No.
Oh.
No, right. Do you have chakso? Desire and so forth? In your translation?
Yeah. Desire. So the
Do you have affliction?
Duyon?
No. Affliction? Nyomo? Or how do you translate nyomo?
Afflictions. The Angjang Krang Changidu?
No. I'm sure you are better than that.
Chakso?
Nyomo komna? Kom? What is kom?
Habits?
Habituate? You don't have that?
Nyumon Gomna?
Nyembun doka way. It's very difficult to reverse by antidote.
Sumshu so ngapa? Pache.
No, you can read in English if you have.
So,
what number?
So I think it's this one, the 35th verse of the 37 Bodhisattva practices. When afflictions are habits, they're hard to turn back. So with the sword-like cure of mindfulness and grasp, as soon as afflictions like desire are produced, to strike them right down is what bodhisattvas do.
Bunjum is interesting one, like hammer. Anything pop up, you need to hammer. It's more like imagery. So Bunjum is a really interesting word in Tibetan.
So maybe I said sword, but should maybe hammer?
No, there's no sword. Definitely no sword. It more means if something going here is a little bit pop up, you need to hammer down right away. Yeah, whack the head.
So maybe it should be. So with the hammer, I mean it might be hammer time. No. So when afflictions are habits, they're hard to turn back. So with the hammer cure of mindfulness and grasp, as soon as afflictions like desire are produced, to pound them right down is what the bodhisattvas do.
Yeah.
Maybe that could be like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. More a wrapping way.
The same one or a different
Same one, yeah.
Okay. No. So when afflictions are habits, they're hard to turn back. So with the hammer cure of mindfulness and grasp, as soon as afflictions like desire are produced, to pound them right down is what the bodhisattvas do.
See? Yeah.
Okay.
So you can see they are not good friends, you know. If keep too long, they could be very nasty. But anyway, up to you. want to try to experience how they are and look them, and then need more effort to get rid of. If soon as you popping them up, just whack them down. So anyway, it's good to know some tools and some methods that what we need to do. And if you think just stopping emotions are to stop you, and that's another thing. And then we have now we talk about these daytime things. Sometimes happy, sometimes sad, sometimes so. It doesn't really matter. That's called, I think, in English, they have very nice term. They call emotion, go up and down and up and down. It never stays on one level. And usually, when new person born, people are happy. When someone die, people are sad, and so forth. So these are things happened. And then we, if we take care of, nime kongita, dorna dedo ke nawate, la songen tang jujor tang panglan maji bishane, te la rewa maji njok toba ina, te ko rangshin ji chon rogo res, te pun nawi menzi hienbi chujina, hienba chujina ro pasong, tene te lo page. 나오이기 처럼 노바지가 말해서 저런 현바 요바티 노바지들이 마도 현바도 주고 그래 마도 너 그런 샤샤는 되게 송을 봐.
So then in the daytime, if we can go about our life without becoming engaged with a dualistic interaction related to, things that, we experience as good and bad and pleasure and pain and so forth. If we do not become conceptually involved with all these phenomena and appearances, then they are naturally liberated. And so Tilopa taught Naropa, he said, appearances are not what harm you. Experiences are not what harm you. What causes you harm is your grasping at them. So cut through your grasping, Naropa.
More like Qing.
Oh,
Knowing Qing.
So appearances do not bind you. Your grasping is what binds you. So cut through your binding, cut through the chains of attachment. Naropa.
Yeah, Naropa. And we have good and bad, what we decide, and then Rangi Parma song. Tene rangi ta jibo mewa machi bayang mewa par meset angata pugi luxun yale yule zokondra sero yale yule pa me to me ji yar sejime mar sejiment meset tega pa zokondra ni jindo jibo se mewa machi ba se mewa tene tela rangi parma Rangi Parma, dene ndogiyuna da kanda rangi jipar ne devam da songwa. Te mayin bi gawa da mega ba dan dorna nawa shatsi tamji de chuto maji ne par shai ko gore song.
So then here, it says in the Tibetan, you may have a neutral attitude when you are going about or sitting or resting quite indifferently, that is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Regardless of what arises, identify its nature as it arises without reacting positively or negatively. And so in Tibetan, they have this kind of phrase, yale yule, which is like, kind of like, maybe sort of this attitude of, well, whatever.
There's a imagery in dog ha고로 하거나 dog tel jansenser 하pen들.
Uh-huh.
Then dog said you lame ol shaya dog steamende.
Uh-huh.
Then padens je nga so lungyam lo ji yoro. Yoro jingkorte so dog paden jansensa고 해. 보길.
Duki Jeltsin?
말이 독통 jansen paden somse 카가로.
Baden. Oh,
독스 들라미 올 바가들어. jansen스나 데리스 바기 바기도와.
Uh-huh.
세마인 바 paden세 줘.
Baden.
Uh-huh. 티솜 제랍도 인지 돌아.
Buttons and ribbons.
Banner, ribbon, banner, yeah.
Yeah. Yep, ribbons, double banner.
Mm-hmm.
So we have umbrellas. We have victory banner, like a victory flag. And we have another thing, kind of like a banner or ribbons.
너무 쪽도 파게 들어 있어. jansen세 파게 조동통 향도.
So this in the corner, there's like a victory banner.
The colorful with what? How to describe that one?
Like a parasol, several layers with different colors each layer. Yeah, it's multi-layer parasol. Kind of conical, a circular column of flags.
Mm-hmm.
Blue, white, red, green, yellow.
Mm-hmm. So now we have three, yeah?
So three things.
Three things. 독통 파den jansen soms.
So umbrellas, victory banners, and ribbons.
Yale yuling on mitsetos.
So yale yule, if they go up or down.
No, sometimes they raise, sometimes hang, sometimes lay down. So their life is not predictable, but it's
Unstable.
So it's like an umbrella.
no, it's just how their lifespan.
The life. Okay, so it's
Exactly.
yeah. It's basically like the flags and the victory banners get used. Sometimes you hang them up. Sometimes you set them down, and that's the life of a llama umbrella.
You can see our life is similar like that. Most of the time, useless. Just put their hang, lie down, or.
So kind of like these ceremonial implements that are used to, sometimes be above mandalas. You hang them over lamas. You use them for ceremonies and so forth. The ribbons and so forth. Sometimes you use them. You put them up. Sometimes you set them down. Mm-hmm. That's just like a human life. We just sometimes things go up. Sometimes
so
things.
Yale yule is described by that. So our lives yale yule. Yale yule on the mitzvah also.
So, in this way, this is really a very Tibetan kind of phrase. But, I mean, comparing a human life to some, victory banner flag. But, Sometimes things are up, sometimes things are down.
Maybe English must have some
This-
sort of
What
that.
about those little things they put in the stores that go like this?
No, no, no.
No,
No, it's not that point. It's just how they spend their life. As human life is similarly.
I think like the human life has times where things are like very much in focus and active, other times you're kind of sedentary and you're just kind of going along. Sometimes you're really up, sometimes you're down. It's kind of like a little bit of everything at different times, you know, and it's not necessarily predictable when all those things happen. And it's just kind of a jumble of events if you kind of look at the totality.
Yeah, we cannot say we're very useful, productive, and joyful.
but here you're using it to describe kind of Barma, neutral. Yale Yule is kind of indifferent.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of meaningless.
Yeah, so this is like, in this kind of context, the prayer flags, the flags go up and down and all around, and that's just like we do just kind of do some stuff, but it's sort of meaningless and not really special. So this is kind of describing something that we should be indifferent towards. That's the kind of context here.
I guess in English, life is so meaningful, it cannot really say these phrases. So anyway, that's not the point, but we are struggle to make life is meaningless. So let's pretend life has meaning. Yeah? Yeah. And a lot of meaning. And
Maybe.
so we can wake up and we can sleep. So when we wake up, we see what we want to see sometimes. Most of the time, human life is always these 4 extra sufferings. Dradangwatang chiji topi dungar, nyen shambatang charji topi dungar, doba toda mekervi dungar, mandoba toda wabi dungar, dungar namba shi, jega nanchi dungar namba shi toldene, ta dungar chicho shi, shenda shi nayon de tan. Tene dorna ta nga soge, ji goyo sambatene ragayo mara, migo sambatene radego, tene ta ji mayon samji yong de gore, yong go sambatamji mayong de.
So our life goes by and we experience, 4 different great types of suffering. We encounter enemies and rivals that we definitely don't want to encounter. We, lose our connections with close ones, or we're not able to, be close to the ones that we want to be close to. We don't get what we desire, and we get what we don't desire. In addition, we have the common human sufferings of birth, old age, sickness, and death. And so all these different 8 types of sufferings are something that we experience in this life. We go around and we want certain things, and those things don't come. Other things that we don't want, that's what comes.
Thank you. So, main point here is teso tamji yu devares, nga so yong yores. Yina leb yongdu teso donglen kanda chegyomi. Tedu nyamlen rongla nyamlen yona, tedu pechu kanda dangyomi. Ti kechate lagyor, tese chu che sayad da di to rabji chuna tarwa tamjin jimbi komponsa yaji to. Tadar majona tenrigi jengen tong, ten nyongmo tenri shayon de des, ngo non taba tenri tang yona, tele donglan che tona, da je chu chibi tona na wachi, chago yorwa.
So the fact of the matter is that those things occur. Those undesirable situations, they occur in our life. And so how do we respond to those? And how do we practice? So when we talk about Dharma practice, we can use them. And at the highest level, we can take them onto, the path to attain the omniscient state of Buddhahood. And even though we might not be able to do that, if we're at a lesser stage, still, when negative circumstances and different types of things like this arise, if we apply the Dharma, then we can at least have, some way of working with this and like lessening their impact.
Many people told me that sometimes the Dharma practitioners, they told me that without Dharma practice, they would not went through the sufferings that they went through. So keep that in mind. Sometimes Dharma practice seems working well if you use wisely. Otherwise, if you use all the forces from others, then Dharma practice maybe not work that well. So then what we can do? Daytime we can have all these things, and nighttime,
So half the time of this human life, more or less, we're sleeping.
Tanda ngemegi jeju chimegi duso tadala chaji mambo chishane jik tedea tende chelomendo nga tutu mesaya lo tende yongdo wa tutu tongba mewe sono gomjam sem nzimba mewa tiki tutu te mewe sono kabga nga su xaragyo wa tena nga su metse mangchete metse cheka de nila tang xaragyo tika apsu tene nga su tala semje to tono yo marwa 인도 아주 곰 잠롱여를 생에 단도나 곰 잠롱여를 잠 맞아 개차래마도 잠롱여를 추치롱여를 추치롱면도 특성세거 추치롱여를 추세에 가두치나 인도거로 선바상 보세요 추리 된도랍지 주나 곰 잡더네 랑성마다야 추리 다데 담아도 데 미시티 야로 마친 tene samba de sangra machina tene da chu drop yosena drobe tene kot machu pachang ores.
So a lot of people these days, especially, if you ask them, well, how's your schedule looking, do you have time to meditate and so forth, people would say, well, I don't have any time. I'm always busy. And you're like, well, just sit there without grasping in your mind and so forth. And they're like, well, I don't have time to really practice. I got all these things going on. However, half the time in our life, what we're doing is sleeping. We basically sleep half the time, and so. It's not that we can't practice the Dharma. So, when, we talk about things, we shouldn't say, oh, I don't have any time to practice the Dharma. We can practice the Dharma all the time, just by even having a kind of pure altruistic attitude, wanting to benefit others and so forth. That's practicing the Dharma. On the highest level, it can include formal meditation and so forth too. But really just trying to be a good person is practicing the Dharma. not to mention all this time that we're, sitting around and sleeping. So we shouldn't think that we don't have time to practice the Dharma. We might not have the interest to practice all the time, but there are opportunities.
So now, what we can do at night time? Do you have?
Maybe you could talk about night first, but maybe there's a question there too also.
Okay. Yeah, maybe this go through this. Semo la so ni nyoba nang so. Dan sen le yang de ne me mangche ni ku men do sen dongar ta. Pe me si be yoro. Sagbart no pjol le han ni se at ji ma ko na tene. Me mo tse chola cha song ke cha la ndo te. Te yin du dan sen le ni se ju ku ga yoro rang xi je tong yin na. Tene ta teni kuwe kap so yong ji gom jab ne zima da tawe ko ni nye to ba yina tene tenyong ko ni ku wa tele yong tong da yo ba so to wo res ti ma che ma zo ti nang le yo jun ju nong la chang chop ge sam te je ju le che yong na teneこの2個そなやゲワチャンのこれですこ2個べれんらよゲワチャンのこれです
So it's really interesting these days when it comes to, sleep, especially in the West. One of the things that causes some of the most, suffering for people is not being able to sleep. Insomnia is an incredible source of suffering. So not only do we spend a lot of time in life, sleeping, but then not being able to sleep is, a chronic condition for a lot of people too. And so instead of just experiencing sleep in an ordinary way, one of the methods to actually work with that time of sleep is to, meditate without any grasping, without any, concepts and so forth. And in that way, we can transform that ordinary experience of sleep onto the path. And so it's taught in the entering the way of the Bodhisattva. It's taught that if we have bodhicitta, if we generate the enlightened mind of bodhicitta, then even though we fall asleep, even our sleep can be virtuous.
Tene 다치 추론서 니 먹고 강연도나 단다 가동 트랭크다 가서 검잡돼야 돼 스몰 따야죠 너나 따야 든 산라 되는 데고 니를 되는 데고 제발요 말해 대인도 년 대세가 말해 되게 네 검도 니 마코야 대코야 그 제주 땡을 세고 말해 얘나 다 왜토니 니 코면도나 이 검도 지잡든 니 칸데 코도 지 따다 당치 지는 데그 주로서 니 팽그레스 라고 말어 근데 주로서 당치 지는 니 코면도나 검지 잡든 니 코야 팽그 땡땡 팽그레 탱도스 이나 검데 니 코야 제주송 샤워 말다 알아 고마워 정말 고마워요.
근데 that's trouble. 네. 나서 니쿠 기갑라.
Yeah, maybe I can say some English. You
Yeah, yeah.
can translate into Tibetan. I believe if you really have problem with sleeping, try this meditation. This meditation means we are practicing these 2 days. That's freshing and reminding, but we did this few years already. So you still don't know how to open your mouth. That's fine. That's not that difficult to fix. We don't need heart surgeons to do that. So anyway, if you do that, because these reduce and stop thinking. What you are not sleeping is caused by worrying something, or you are planning something, or you're concerning about something. This stops the thinking. Once stop the thinking, you are sort of nature zone. Your sleep will be very easy. Repeat until you sleep. I'm sure you will sleep like law after a while. But this, I would not say that this teaching or meditation is for sleep. If we use that, then we lost our meaning of our Dharma teaching. But I'm saying this is so powerful that small things would take care of.
And when Khenpo said it in Tibetan, he's saying, I think you said you guarantee this will help.
Yeah.
This will help you sleep.
No, I said I don't want to say guarantee.
Don't want to say guarantee.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you should try.
Okay.
But I believe it will.
No warranties, no guarantees.
Yeah. I don't want to sign 100% sure.
Okay. Well, he said guarantee in English.
But that
so
depend on individuals' practice.
okay.
This practice cannot pretend. Many practices can pretend. You can, Tibetans say, "Jirim kyagi megli yusere." Jirim se kumgura ngaso. Jirim se kumgumare. Jirim.
Kierim?
Yeah.
Gomgiduga?
Kumgura wa. Jirim kyagi megli yus. Kyaga se cha katan rago chiyore. Kata. Puro. Raven.
Oh, charo.
Charo se nan rigri. Jirim kyagi megli yus. Konso meg chalok lo no ji chegri ndin rago. Mata so jirim gomra wa. Sa gom ti che gomgu yo no to che ne. Megli ji teng do wa.
The charo double.
Halang kalikabo esa. Pokela in the Tibetans say many practice can pretend. How we can pretend? Even they say the visualization is occur in a raven's eyes. Ravens, they have this. They can rolling their eyes, showing their eyes look like. You know, the people pretend that when they do visualization, they so, but this practice you cannot pretend, whether you have or not. So if you don't do the correct way, that would not help sleep or anything that what we are talking about. Maybe question?
So I'm not sure this will be clear, but one could say that one model of how this life is working is it's kind of like the continuation of a previous story, the karma, predispositions, habits you have from a previous lifetime. And you take this body as embodiment in this lifetime. And so this life is the continuation of that story, and a lot of our problems come because we want to rewrite what's happening in this story. We like this, we like that, we're trying to influence things. And so that's causing all of our problems, according to this set of teachings, the self-grasping and so forth, creating new karmas. So I can see there's a practical issue if one achieves this higher state, where all of a sudden you're no longer writing anything on the news story, but you've already started one. And so all of a sudden you're accepting the old story, which you didn't like. That's why you're trying to write a new one. So I would think that there's a transition, or at least what appears to be a transition of chaos. All of a sudden you're not doing necessarily the same things of your current story that you were writing. And so there'll be a shift somewhere along the way. So I've heard this kind of question a variety of different ways. And the question is, how does one deal with maybe what appears to be a chaotic transition?
Yeah, usually if we are very great yogi, good practitioner, and we really letting things go, and we don't have fixations on things, and we subdue or we control our emotions and so forth. But the realization and this enlightenment dawns in our mind, but this body is still kind of physical substance that as long as we are in this physical body, I mean, kind of trapped in this physical body, we are very limited movement. Even we talk about the Milarepa, maybe he can cross like walking on the surface of water, flying a little bit, but still you can see most of the time he's need to act like a human being. And getting old, and same thing, Buddha Shakyamuni is getting older and older, 81 years old, then no longer kind of body is not supporting. It's the same thing. However, the belief in this teaching, particular Nyingma tradition, once our body is decayed or separate from our mind, then our mind is become much lighter. If then we have 12 that we have realization and enlightened qualities, then we are free of both kind of physical and mentally bondages, and then we can, even using here is the Garuda, baby Garuda is fly as soon as the eggshell is break. So similarly, saying the liberation occur in a pardo. It's not maybe in this life. Yeah.
So there might be some chaos if you
Yeah,
along the path
maybe
at some
you.
point. The people around you in your life might have something to say about how you're no longer creating karmas with them.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories that some cities or some siddhas, lamas and teachers, yogis, have tremendous illnesses that their body seems to get a lot of sufferings, yeah. And but at the same time, they seems don't have any suffering. So somehow this body, mind, the sensation, pain that doesn't go through the nervous systems to the light and mind part. It's could just it's block or it's just transform. It's suffering could be transformed as bliss. You know, it's these two are interesting thing. People do exercise rigorously. They burn all the muscles and so forth. Suffering that makes them happy and bliss. Maybe I don't know what they do. Something that suffering is not too bad thing.
Okay, several questions online. The first question, Khenpo, is what is the Tibetan term for don't get involved, as in not interfering with whatever appearances may arise?
Can you say a little bit louder?
Sorry. What is the Tibetan term for don't get involved, as in not interfering with whatever appearances may arise?
Don't interfere.
Don't
Yeah,
yeah.
chutomachi.
Chudok mache.
Okay. Next question. In some mantra recitation instructions, it says to rest in the nature of mind as much as possible while reciting. Can Rinpoche give some advice on resting in the nature of mind while doing mantra practice?
Resting in nature of mind is, can be conceptually can rest. Yeah. Tokwa the Chava, Zimba maybe Tokwa Tamchi the Chava go ne, Huya Jek Tang, and Chunigi Tokwa Tige, Jane Depsera, Jane Depsena Hagonde. Jane Tabicone, then a Drangya Talayang, Tesegujiri Mato, Tanda. Ngan David de Himbi Kabla, Samotayate, Jerson Luxu, the Mevares. Yomer Luxu Yomares.
So there are instructions on doing mantra recitation, accumulation, without any, being free from concepts, without any grasping, and sealing the practice with the realization of the nature of reality, the Dharmadhatu. So within that state, that non-conceptual state, there's, talk about, doing mantra recitation and accumulation. However, if you look at the actual, a lot of the actual secret mantra texts and instructions for individual practices, it usually kind of doesn't say just to do that.
And concepts are Tokba. Tangbo Nato Sagum Nada not Dena. Don't be Jin de Goro. T Deng Tamara was saying the Tawi Deng Tamara was segment. Deng Hago. Tawi Deng Tamara was to Tony talk with Tawa T you in the T Deng Tam Mother Bicone, not the Sagum. Chia your reason. Sena the concept channel. The talk Tony Tawa take. Deng Tang Deng because Mato Deng Sena Tig confidence, ascertainment that Yoro Yina Tig on la Tony Mosom to Todeva Maro. Jitobro, not this in a Jitobro. Cason Larimba, Nyamiatan Jitob. Nyamiaking on la Tony Toyondu, T Tony get away Deng Tang Materby, Gone. Tene ngan de wat jitop sa da ngan de ya yoro ti nyam yak dang jitop ke cha la goro yin na jitop ke kap se no wa tham chi sa chak wa tham chi nga no wa tham chi ji me rang ji tun thong de wa te kap se jitop se goro ti kap se yin na tong ni ge deng te yoro te yo wal te ne tene Tony Kitawi going on this and Tony talk with going on this and rigor mato. Moose and the Tony, the number shall wake up, certainly. Strong it, not Mandava, some Mukumba. 샤와 구축세면데 샤와 구축세나 류가 이성 샤와라 류지 샤와 개와 메개와 요나 천홍성성 샤와 나게 천홍성성 샤와 이지 천홍성성 샤와 샤와 탐지던 차를 거네 되네 공부 그랬어.
So, in secret mantra practice, they talk about meditating, doing the visualization of ourselves as the deity, meditating on the deity, reciting the mantra, and then to never separate from the view of the confidence of the view. And so here, the confidence of the view is the ultimate nature, of the empty nature of reality. And so not separating with that, from that perspective, then we engage in the deity practice, of visualization, recitation, and so forth. However, technically, we are, doing the mantra recitation, doing actual visualization and so forth. And so, at the same time, if we never separate ourselves from the view and have that confidence when we practice, then when we stop doing these other kind of, activities of visualization and mantra and so forth, then we might be able to, naturally, in between sessions and so forth, abide in the view. On the other side of things, if we meditate in our state of resting evenly, nyamchak, in sessions, and we meditate, on the ultimate nature of things, the nature of the mind, the dzogchen practice, then in between sessions, then even if in between our formal sessions of dzogchen practice, we do, mantra recitation and deity visualization, then that realization can merge. That experience that we have of the dzogchen can kind of, we can experience that. And this is called post-attainment. This is like in between sessions that can seep into, kind of flow into our other sessions. However, and this is a key point here, that when we do the dzogchen practices, meditating on the non-conceptual nature of the mind, then we should be free from activities of body, speech, and mind. So our bodies should be free from activities, the outer inner secret activities. Our speech should be free from outer inner secret activities. Our mind should be free from outer inner secret activities. And so in that state, without trying to do anything at all, resting naturally, that's, really the dzogchen practice that's being talked about here.
Maybe here, as you are here, so maybe it's good that lu tuchu ji mero tawu song re, lu bo te tuchu ke nange mero tawu te kure song re. Nga pewang juntak chiba tawu song, nga saya te pipang sanatana guitar na wadang ka pipang lagro. Juntak chiba tawu takpa chi te wadang, ke chaya yomaris. Sem namka iya takpa tawu song, tene sem te namka iya takpa se na jimba tang, tene pollution kaya meba, charba tang kaya meba, namka iya takpa tawu. Kogre song de.
So in the Dzogchen Great Perfection practice of cutting through, Trechu, then it is taught that when we meditate, our bodies should be unmoving, like a corpse technically it's in a charnel ground where they burn corpses, but we could say like a corpse in a cemetery. It's not moving, hopefully.
Have you seen corpses are moving?
Some movies, but
Okay.
the speech, our speech, so the body is unmoving like a corpse in a charnel ground. The speech sounds like a guitar where all the strings have been cut. So there's no sound coming from our speech. And then the mind is like a completely pure sky that is free from any blemishes. So free from clouds, free from pollution, free from anything like that. That's our mind.
Yeah, sometimes people do when try to meditate, they're doing something else, try to unmeditate, then try to meditate. So these are different. These Dzogchen meditations a little bit different. If you want to do that, maybe better to do what traditional says, and that's an important part. And we are in 3:30, so are you tired and need tea? Okay. If not, then we can sit here forever, maybe. Not really. Okay. We do some tea break. 30 minutes. And then come back, refresh.
Come back at 4 o'clock.
Yeah. Mm.